Well, good afternoon and welcome everyone to the Colorado Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association Lunch and Learn webinar, the Automated Weeder Series, Sharpshooters, Carbon Robotics and Verdant. I'm Adrian Card, a state specialist in produce with Colorado State University Extension, and I'm a founding board member of the Colorado Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association, and will host today's webinar. It is produced in collaboration with CFVGA and will feature two leading US companies in automated vegetable weeders, Carbon Robotics and Verdant Robotics. These automated weeders use AI optics to differentiate between weed and crop, and then fire a laser or spray herbicide to kill the weed. And of note, a 2021 Colorado State University survey showed that Colorado produce growers would seek mechanization and automation solutions as their first choice if labor recruitment, retention, and affordability issues did not improve. CFVGA is the go-to resource for Colorado's fresh fruit and vegetable farmers, connecting Colorado growers with industry, government, academia, and consumers to strengthen and expand Colorado fresh fruit and vegetable production. Learn more at their website and their social media channels. This trade association is made possible by its sponsors, and CFVGA wishes to thank those sponsors today. A couple of platinum sponsors now on screen for you. Gold sponsors, silver sponsors, and finally, these vendors are offering products and services for growers in Colorado, and growers can go to the website and find that on the grower tab. A little bit of housekeeping. We'll use the Q&A box. It's set that you can see all of our questions asked in there. You can upvote those if you would like. There'll be a educational outcomes poll at the end of the webinar, and we'll do the Q&A at the end as well too. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jaime Eltit from Carbon Robotics and Brad Abraham from Verdant Robotics. Jaime is the Vice President of Field Operation at Carbon, where he has been instrumental in building and scaling the field support and operations teams. Jaime brings 10+ years of field operations experience, including over 7 years in ag tech prior to joining Carbon Robotics. And he's an active volunteer in board roles for nonprofit organizations and his community. He holds a bachelor's degree from California State University in Monterey Bay. And for Brad, he grew up on a family farm, served in the military, and then returned to the farming industry as an operations coordinator. In a previous role, Brad was responsible for overseeing spray operations for some of the largest almond and pistachio growers, where he deployed a large autonomous sprayer fleet. With more than a decade of experience, Brad is a key liaison between farmer customers and Verdant's technical team, ensuring the fleet is working in the field all day, every day. And with that, Jaime, I'll pass over to you.
Thank you, Adrian. All right, so I'll start here with our presentation. So a little bit about Carbon Robotics. We started in 2018 and launched our first commercial machines in February 2022. We're headquarters in Seattle, and we do our manufacturing in Detroit. Our main product is an AI-powered laser weeder. We boast an impressive team of AI robotics and engineers and an ag tech team. And today we're operating in over 17 US states and 3 Canadian provinces. These are some of the farms and operations that we're working with there in the bottom. Let's talk a little bit about why laser weeding and why laser weeding makes sense as a viable solution to weed control. I'm going to show you guys a quick video of laser weeding and organic carrots so you can get an idea of what the action looks like live. So as you can see, a lot of smoke coming up, and we're targeting weeds with precision, millimeter precision accuracy, targeting weeds at the meristem using CO2 laser technology. So as you can see, every time that dirt is lighting up and subsequently smoke comes out, that's a CO2 laser targeting the meristem of the weed, and that's how we're killing the weed. little bit of high level info on weed control. The existing methods are hand labor, herbicides, and there's some well-known mechanical methods as well. So hand labor is diminishing, it's increasing in cost, and it's hard to get consistent results from it, right? Herbicides are obviously environmentally harmful. They lead to weed resistance and can have toxic side effects to the people that are around them. And then mechanical weeding has some use cases, but it can be disturbing, and it's not a good viable solution for high density crops. A quick example of some of our work here, 6 days post laser weeding. So as you can see, heavy purslane pressure on the left, and that was untreated, and some treated beds with the laser weeder on the right. A bit of a laser weeder versus crew size comparison. Depending on the weed density, we can replace anything from 25 to 75 people in the field with just one laser weeder, which is something that growers have really taken delight to. Talk about a little bit the benefits of laser weeder versus herbicides. As you can see, the herbicides have sometimes a detrimental effect on the crop as well. So laser weeder not only allows you to reduce your herbicide usage, but also protects the crop from some of the unwanted side effects of the herbicides. A new feature we just released, which is thinning, which is something we're very excited about. Currently, thinning is done with some herbicides and a combination of at times nitrogen or some nitrogen or fertilizer combinations. Laser thinning, however, allows us to do it in an organic fashion, but most importantly, gives us the ability to kill doubles and things which eliminate both the weeding crew and the thinning crew. Why is laser weeding such a big value proposition in today's world and agriculture? Well, there's the 3 main reasons are cost reduction. As I mentioned before, costs are increasing rapidly, and when it comes to hand labor, herbicide use reduction, and then again the soil disturbance aspect of it. Here's a quick video of laser weeding in a high density field. So this is a great video because it showcases how this is today the only current non-chemical option to weed in high density fields, other than a hand crew. It'd be impossible to put a mechanical cultivator in here or use any type of actuation tools that are mechanical. And laser weeding is a viable option for weeding in high density organic or conventional fields. Great. Here's another excellent video showcasing the laser weeder in carrots. So every little, bright spot that you see again is a CO2 laser hitting the weed and the meristem. Some of those weeds are very small, so the duration of that, dosing of laser can be a few milliseconds. But if you look closely, you can see all the small weeds being hit with incredible accuracy in this organic carrot field. We've had some great results with some of the top organic growers in the US. Some of the savings we've seen are $500,000 to $900,000 a year. The capital cost of the laser weeder is $1.4 million. And we're seeing a break even anywhere from 1.5 to 2.8 years, depending on the utilization and the seasonality of the farms. This is our platform, our current generation of the laser weeder. It's a high performance unit with very advanced GPUs. It handles very high resolution images. It boasts 30 150 watt CO2 lasers that are shooting 3,000 plus weeds per minute. We are shooting weeds with millimeter accuracy. And then we have 4 lighting arrays that have high-powered LEDs, which allow us to really, have consistent lighting conditions regarding of the ambient, factors or things that are outside of our control. That gives us great image quality regarding if it's day, night, cloudy, sunny, windy, rainy, it doesn't matter. The lighting array does a great job of kind of standardizing image quality for us. Yeah, so a little bit about weed detection using AI. We use, high-level machine learning for this. We're detecting the size of the weed type, the meristem target location, and the crop type. And then given that information, we make a decision on the dosage. So how long we shoot a weed for until we can move on to the other weed, right? So the smaller a weed is, the less dosage it needs, but we know exactly, given the type and size of weed, what the appropriate dosage is to be able to eradicate that weed. Here's some awesome pictures of some of our laser weeders out in the field with commercial customers. As you can see, some guys have tracks, others are using different tractor setups depending on their operation. A little bit of iteration history at Carbon Robotics. We've moved pretty fast. Company was founded in 2018 by Paul Meixel in Seattle. Started testing with a laser cart in August of 2019, just to kind of validate laser weeding. It had one CO2 40-watt laser, and that was deployed in November 2019. After that was CD, which was 2 lasers. That was deployed in April 2020 in Idaho. We were testing in some onions there. Then came Veggie in June of 2020. That had 4 CO2 150-watt lasers. That was deployed in New Mexico in onions. Then came Bud, which many of you guys saw, which were the autonomous units, which we now use for demos. That had 8 CO2 lasers. And in June or May of last year, we deployed our commercially available unit, which is, the Slayer, what we call internally, or a laser weeder. And that is a 3-bed, 30 CO2 laser unit that's a tractor pull. That's been, largely scaled. And now, like I said, it's in 17 different US states and 3 Canadian provinces. And we're shipping quite a few units every month to new customers. A little bit of trial results. We've been able to, save, like I said, anywhere from $500 to $800 on an acre, and sometimes quite a bit more, depending on the weeding condition, on the weed density conditions and other factors. And some weeding performance metrics here. We have a speed estimator, which allows us to, indicate to the operator how fast to go in order to achieve a certain amount of efficiency. Whether you want to kill 80% of weeds or 100% of weeds, the speed required is going to be a bit different. So we're doing kill time and tuning optimization via that process. And we have really good data, which indicates how many weeds per minute we've killed. This is a great picture because it showcases a little bit of the weed death cycle. A lot of times, when you first get a laser weeder, you think that a weed has to be absolutely fried, and that's not the case. If we burst the cell walls with thermal energy on the meristem, the weed will die. So for example, here we have a pigweed that was shot on the first picture that day. 24 hours later, you can see that it's almost dead. And then you see what happens at 48 and 72 hours. So it's pretty impressive. A little bit of the cost reduction curve here. We don't need to get too much into this, but it shows where it pays off, and that obviously the benefits of the laser weeder get greater the more weed density and the higher your weeding costs are. And that's all I got. Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you so much, Jaime. And
Yeah,
next up, sorry about that. Next up, Brad.
Yeah, I'll take the screen over right now. All right. So, Jaime, great presentation, man. I enjoyed that. I appreciate that. For everybody out there, my name is Brad Abraham. I am our Director of Field Operations for Verdant Robotics. So I get the question a lot is, what is Verdant Robotics? Well, Verdant Robotics is a multifunction tool. We offer robots for growers, more on a robot as a service basis. And we eliminate weeds in field. Also, we could do things like possibly apply fungicides, plant growth hormones, things like that directly to the plant, fertility to the root zone, things like that. So that's just a basic overview of who we are, why we do what we do. By 2050, we will need to produce 60% more food. Doing that with farming as usual approaches would take a heavy toll on natural resources. I don't think that's the question for anybody. I think we all kind of agree and understand on that aspect of things. This right here is kind of what we see in farming today. Broadcast sprays. I've had a lot of farmers tell me that, well, we overspray for better coverage at times, but in the future, we're really looking to get away from that. This right here, once again, not really what we're seeing as the future in agriculture. We really like to see a better place for our labor market. And this right here is how we see the future of agriculture. One machine in the field, getting jobs done, making sure that the weed population is knocked down and controlled to a point that is suitable for the grower for harvest. And yeah. Our solution for this is we gathered a bunch of people in other industries, roboticists, top in their class, a lot of guys that came from Tesla, Google self-driving cars, NASA, DARPA, things like that. A lot of guys that were working in industries where they said they wouldn't see the results, the fruits of their labor, you could say, within the next, 30 years. So they changed course, moved over to agriculture, and decided that they wanted to change the future for agriculture and give the ability to scale our agriculture to meet the needs of the consumer for sustainable grown products. I'm going to just kind of skim through this stuff a lot. A lot of this stuff is things that, you guys already know, or also just, basic knowledge about, AI too. So what we do is we go into fields, we index, act, and discover. Index, we go in and we build out field maps for where we're going and understand the crop that's there, understand the challenges that might be in front of us. For every field we go into, we face a possibility of a new anomaly that we're always trying to figure out, whether that's a different style of rock that's out there, soil texture, many different things can really change things for our system. We act, we go out, we take care of the action that is in the field, whether that be weeding, whether that's, applying a fungicide, whether that's whatever it is that the farmer really needs. And then discover, we use robot as a service because it's a model that allows our higher ups, or even our guys like me, for instance, in the management level, we get out in the field. It gives us a chance to bump shoulders with the farmers. So we see the immediate area where our robot could go in and start helping in the weeding and thinning world. But we want to discover more. This is a product that is starting in one area, and we really see the evolution of this product changing not just vegetable crop growers, but moving into the tree industry and continuing to expand from there. This is just the beginning of the rise of what we can really do. What's important, reduce chemical as we go through the field. Even though we do apply a organic herbicide for our organic growers, or even conventional herbicides if it's needed for conventional growers, we see a reduction in chemical use by 60 to 95%. A lot closer to the 90 to 95% range. There is some anomaly fields where we have extremely high weed density pressure when we're walking in. So it may be a little bit more, but for the most part, we see that 90 to 95% reduction. Labor availability. A lot of the guys that work for us, we all came from farming ahead of time. We were farmers first. And so we understand the labor issues that we have right now. Talking to a lot of growers will even say, we have X amount of organic acreage because we don't have the labor ability to scale that up to be even more. So as our population grows, we see that we need to scale that sustainable agriculture with the population. And with the labor market we have now and the amount of people we have, we just don't have the ability to scale to meet those needs of those consumers, where we see that's where we could really start making huge impact. And then unlock new revenues, unlocking new areas we could go into and figuring things out with growers. Maybe we're in and we're weeding, and then we find out that the grower needs something a little bit different. And that's where our fungicide applications started coming into play. We started hearing from some of our conventional growers that it would really help if we could drop out some fungicides so they don't have to broadcast it as much anymore. And so we posed the other question of what if we could go ahead and we can weed and we could do a fungicide at the same time. So we have some sprayers that'll be weeding, and then the sprayers that are sitting behind them will be dropping a fungicide right on your plant. That right there was something that really, just from bumping shoulders with farmers, really pushed us into a new area and unlocked a new revenue source, as well as a new source of growth for the grower. We're being extremely efficient through the field with our passes, not just making a pass to do one job, but to try to do a multifunction tool that's doing multiple jobs at once. The technology, pretty basic. You got a tractor, robot on the back, cameras underneath, sprayers spraying on the field, and a nav box up top that's telling our computers what's coming at it next. So pretty basic setup, really easy to understand. I really like showing people it in person more than over the computer, but you guys get the really basic setup of how it really looks and what's going on the machine with this. Machine stats. First gen machines, they were 6-row machines, 40-inch beds, couldn't adjust, couldn't do anything. We were set for 40s. The reason why we were set for 40s is one of our growers since day one, Bolt House, who got us into weeding, said, hey, can you move your what you're doing for apples right now, slam it to the ground and do weeding for us? I said, sure, why not? So the way their beds were shaped and the way they planted their cellos was all on 40s. And so we made 6-row 40s, or a 20-foot machine. As we started to run that year, we started hearing from a lot of growers like, hey, can you bring this into onions, or can you bring this into broccoli, cauliflower? Really opened us up into a lot of different grower bases. And we said, yeah, for sure. And they're like, oh, well, we're sitting on 60s, or we're sitting on, 80s. And when we started moving into those areas, we couldn't fit into the 60s, couldn't fit into we could fit into the 80s, but we were leaving a little strip. So that's where we really moved into our third generation. We had a second generation, but really moved into our third generation. And now we have the ability to move all of our hardware underneath the machine and move it across the machine to make it fit to the bed spacing that the grower wants. We have, 30, 40, 60, 80s, but there's also growers out there that don't fit within that might be in tomatoes or something else that, may not be right on a 30 or a 40 or 60 or an 80. Well, this gives us the ability to adjust for whatever grower we're walking into and to stay efficient with it as well. It's super easy, super easy thing to do when we go from grower to grower. Fourth generation coming out right now, actually, moving from 20 foot to 40 foot. That would be 12 beds on a 40 or 6 beds on 80s. And super excited for it. It all runs on hydraulics. So the wing itself self-regulates the size of where it needs to be when it goes to the field. Super cool, super high tech. Our engineers explain it way better than I do, but super excited for that to come out in the next couple of weeks. Robots as a service. Question I get asked just about every time I answer a phone call from a new grower. Why are you guys offering robot as a service? Why can't we buy it? Well, the way that we see this industry and the way that we see technology is very similar to how we may see our iPhone. You have an iPhone 1, and then 6 months later, an iPhone 3 comes out. And if you're stuck with the iPhone 1 because you paid so much money, a lot of times you don't want to go out and just buy the iPhone 3. So we feel like with our ability to offer it as a service to start while we're growing the technology and growing the software and growing the machine to be a more sturdy field-ready machine, that we could offer it as a service to start. That way we don't straddle our growers with an upfront cost that in 6 months may change, and they may need to add an extra $200,000 or $150,000 in their machine just to get new cameras or the new computers. NVIDIA just released a new computer with a much higher rate of processing power. It would be a shame if we sold a lot of our machines that could only go, 0.6 to 1 mile an hour. And then to get the the change to be able to move at a more efficient rate at 1.5 to 2 miles per hour, that's going to cost the grower another $250,000. So we tried to stay away from that to start, and that's why we went with our robot as a service. That way, the grower is getting immediate ROI, not ROI over a certain amount of years. If the field dictates it perfectly, we walk into a field, we want to make sure we get ROI right back to the grower from what they would have paid before. See here. 2 contracting models, price per acre. The other is price per pass. All of our contracts that we do with our growers are different. Every grower, though, has different needs as well. We may walk into a grower that has cellulose or shortcuts and carrots, and they may have a price point of one area that we're working with, and we may walk into broccoli with one of our growers like Triangle Farms, and they may say, hey, our price point is a little bit different. So we work contracts based on grower and based on, economic issues that they may have. So to give a price per acre, a price per pass, that's just the same everywhere we go. We don't do that. Once again, our whole group, we were farmers first. We all farmed before we came on and started working with robotics. We all knew, we'd all heard the stories of an ounce of a chemical that's going to change the soil texture of your ground for the next 20 years, and people go out and spend a lot of money into it, and then it's not there. So what we're doing is we're putting our money where our mouth is and saying, hey, not only do we know our product is good, but it's so good that we'll walk into your field, we'll run it, and we'll work a price model to make sure that you get ROI on the first day we're out there. So anyways, once again, we're Verdant Robotics. That's kind of what we do. If you guys have any questions, happy to answer questions. Once again, I know it's kind of quick. We hop through it. We look forward to the questions and answers. So gives us plenty of time to get out on questions and answers.
You guys hit it. That's excellent. And getting the message out there and then ready to talk more about it. So in this next section, folks, we're going to have more of a question and answer and discussion. I think what you're seeing in this, and I've been reading more about it, is how many are viewing the emergence of AI as the 4th industrial revolution. And it is certainly the next revolution in agriculture. We're seeing this across the many economic sectors, and appreciate you all coming in today, being forward looking on this. We have a broad attendance today of people who are throughout the United States and even some international. So really appreciate you making time to come. The first question in the Q&A is approximately, what is the cost per hectare?
For who? For me or for Jaime?
Yeah, Brad, you want to start first? Yeah,
I can start with that. So for price per hectare, once again, going back to the end of that slide, we work with the grower independently on this. So if I were to give a price per hectare out, it would change per grower, change per crop, it would change per situation. That's why we work our contracts with our growers before we come in and get in there. But I couldn't give you an exact price per hectare we would actually charge. It would depend on crop, location. It would environmental factors, a lot of different things really come into play there. But we do make sure that we tailor our contract to make sure that the grower gets their ROI on first day.
and Jaime?
Yeah, for us, it's going to come down to your operational cost. Obviously, we do not offer a service model, right? So it's a grower-owned machine. So that really depends on your utilization of the unit. The price can range anywhere from $100 to, or a little bit less than $100 to several $100s per hectare, depending on your speed, right? And that's going to be determined by your weed density. So it's going to vary. It's going to be a range. I think the importance and the main point should be that, you are bringing a ton of value and you are saving money per hectare by using a laser weeder versus a hand crew. And that's been proven to be true. We are saving a substantial amount on, our operations costs are obviously beneficial versus a hand crew, and that's why people are purchasing the machines.
Great. Our research scientist with Colorado State University, JB Ma, whom, if those of you that come to our June the 16th demo, I'm going to put this in the chat for you guys to see. He has several questions, and one first starting for Jaime, and I think you addressed this in part, but the lifespan of the laser weeder, and what about tech support for customers?
Yeah, so currently we are providing tech support in two modules. So we have a on the field tech support. So we have a team of field service engineers and technicians that reside, by different geos. So we have 3 main support bases spread out throughout the US. And then we have satellite bases in each region where a laser weeder lives, right? So we have a team of right now, a few dozen field service techs that are all over the US and Canada. And we also have a support remote team for debugging software issues and things like that. So we handle on the field issues 2 ways. If it's a software issue, we can log into the machine remotely and resolve or troubleshoot the issue. And if there's if there is a hardware issue or something that necessitates a field service tech, we simply deploy that service tech to the area. But we do have a full service support team that takes care of growers wherever we are, really, all over the US.
Great. I'm going to integrate some of JB's questions later in today's webinar. Jumping over one of these, Jaime, back to you. The growers that don't grow high density vegetable crops, does it work for them? Is it cost efficient?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're seeing quite a few growers use it on non-high density vegetable crops. I was just more highlighting that it's the only option in organic high density crops other than hand labor in the market today. But that doesn't mean that it's not cost efficient for non-high density crops. We're seeing quite a few guys use it on broccolis, lettuces, and anything ranging beets, things that are not considered traditionally high density.
Okay, great.
Also, important thing to point out in non-high density crops, you see a lot of guys use mechanical cultivation techniques, but we bring a ton of value in the intra row, in which where you cannot put a knife or a mechanical cultivation tool, because we can target something that's a few millimeters away from the keeper plant if there's a weed there.
That's amazing. You guys can do this. I think, and to shift more of JB's questions over for Brad. Your platform collects apparently a lot of field data, maybe for multiple seasons. Do you have the ability to provide advice to growers to inform them decision making going forward beyond just what the machine's doing for its own decision making?
No, we do. As a matter of fact, that's kind of a byproduct of what we have when we go through the field, especially since we're going to be taking pictures and videos as we're going through the field of what's happening. So that's our plan in the future, is to expand out to that for growers, whether that's going to end up being, understanding and letting growers know, hey, you have hot spots in this area, powdery mildew or this or that or whatever. That plans on being one of the areas we plan on getting into in the future. We haven't quite landed that yet. That's in the coming year. But back to the high density, I would like to say our new machine that's coming out right now has the ability to get into high density and has been running in, has ran in some cut fields, which would be 120 carrot plants per bed foot, things like that. So our ability to get into high density fields has really gone up, and we have the ability to be in high density fields as well too.
Great. And Brad, back to you, one of JB's other questions, collaborating with crop advisors and other companies who sell seeds, crop protection products. Do you guys work with those companies directly on behalf of the grower?
We haven't started working with them on behalf of the grower yet. Not to say that we're not interested in it. I mean, that could be an area that we blast into in the future for sure. We definitely have the ability, and we definitely have the knowledge on the farming side of things to be able to do that. So I could see that as something that we could definitely do if the grower was asking us to do that. Great. And Jaime, back to you. Both of these technologies have shown in your presentations that you've scaled to address a large acre per hour customer requirement, for very large farms, California based. We certainly have farms in other parts of the world and in Colorado that are not that large and would struggle with some of the price point. Do you guys imagine something in the future where you develop smaller machines that would work for smaller vegetable farms?
Yeah, absolutely. We're exploring, ways to work on modules and things that could possibly be a better fit for smaller growers. Yeah.
Great. Brad?
Yeah, you know, with our model the way we have it, whether you're small, whether you're big, whether you have whatever it is you have, we're offering that ROI running in no matter who you are, you know. So if it's the small grower that may not be able to afford a, you know, 1.2, $1.4 million machine, that's okay. That's why we're using our service model to go into those small growers and make sure that they have the availability for ROI just like the big grower does. And so if we make it to the point where we end up selling one day, that would be something that we would retain with us just for smaller growers to make sure that they have the availability just like everybody. You know, I come from small growers. My family was a small family farm that managed, you know, maybe 300 acres and only owned 50 acres themselves. So it's like for the growers out there that are the 50 acre or the 20 acre grower that needs that help, that's really where our service model comes in and kicks home for some of those guys as well. And that's why we plan on keeping it with us as long as we're around.
That's great. We'll stay in conversation with both of you on that part of it, because I know there's a broader market that's loves looking at this and they're like, well, I don't know if I can afford it. Questions now are becoming international. Jan asks, will these technologies be available in Europe?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just a matter of time. I mean, we see Europe as a market with high potential, and we know they have a need for, you know, technologies that reduce labor cost and are organic in nature and don't use herbicides. So yeah, there's definitely been interest in Europe, and we see Europe as a very exciting potential market for us.
Brad?
Yeah, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and mimic that. I think you said that very well. I think that, you know, we're here right now. And I think probably Carbon in the same place we are. It's that manufacturing boom that you have when a company grows, you know, you can only build so many machines so quick. But when you have a good product, it gets out and everybody wants a piece of it. My email's lit up from growers from India to Europe to Australia, you know, all over the place. So we plan on getting out there. We plan on going international. We're nailing down our manufacturing right now, and as soon as that's done, then that's just a scaling process. As fast as you could scale, as fast as you could push it out, we'll be there.
And Christian notes that there's definitely interest in Holland from some growers. So don't overlook the Netherlands on this.
Oh yeah.
And in the chat, FIRA has been in Europe for many years. Last fall, it came. This is a global ag robotics conference, if you're not aware of it. Came to Fresno last October. It's going to be in Fresno, California. It's going to be in Salinas, California this September. So this is a great place if you haven't had a chance to meet these guys in person, travel out. It is an amazing synergy and a place where I've gotten to learn and meet more of these companies and representatives. Kathy asks, dryland farming, is there potential there? Are there concerns about fire in high density weed areas around field edges? I'm guessing this is with the laser. Yeah,
no, on the field edges, we're not too concerned. We have, you know, mechanisms and things to do that. We are weeding with some, you know, farm and dryland customers. We've been able to mitigate that by just timing irrigation a little bit better, but it hasn't been a huge concern of ours. The lasers are, you know, they're powerful, but the energy is very localized, very precise. So it's not like putting a burner through there where you're indiscriminately, you know, applying thermal energy all over the place. So no, it's not a big concern.
Great. I've seen videos of you guys shooting wooden nickels with your laser and a little bit of smoke, and then it's just a burn pattern on it. So yeah. Kathy also asked for Brad, any plans to integrate into range and pasture data collection?
Yeah, you know, it's definitely there. It's something we've looked into. It's something that if the grower need is there, we're willing to jump into it and work with them. Yeah, so if the grower need is there, we're definitely willing to take a look at it and see where we could benefit the grower.
Fantastic. JB has another question here for both of you. Comparing with other countries such as Europe or Japan, are you advanced or behind in terms of modern farming? Or maybe he's asking around technology developing in those countries too.
I would say I would like to think we're at the you know, cutting edge of technology. We're the only commercially available laser weeder. But I would like to add that I think European growers have had more pressure to innovate due to labor and regulatory pressure. And so I think that you've seen a lot of technology come out of Europe due to necessity and pressure that the market's put on it. Yeah, especially if you look at the mechanical weeders 10, 12 years ago and things like that. You can definitely say a lot of automation came out of Europe due to necessity.
Great. Brad?
Yeah, no, I think we're definitely on the leading edge. That's why we still get emails from people across in those same areas asking us if we're going to be switching into their area or expanding out into their country. We've had emails from Japan, from just about everywhere. So we're right there on the cutting edge. And yeah, so I don't think we're behind at all. It's just the grower need here is getting stronger and stronger, like Jaime was saying, and we're seeing with that grower need, with that boosting up, that the technology is just going to keep going.
One of the catalysts in this, Western Growers Center for Innovation and Technology, they have launched a global harvest automation initiative, and I'm going to put in the chat for you guys their 2022 report reflecting on the status of both weeding and harvest innovations. And they do substantiate what Jaime is saying is, how Europe has been pressed with this much longer. So we're very fortunate to have Western growers in California drawing from these companies, the talents from the Silicon Valley, and it's exciting times to see this technology emerge. A couple of questions I want to shoot to you guys in these waning minutes. Let's see, one of the questions that might come up, if it breaks, how does it get fixed?
Yeah, so for us, we leverage our internal support team to repair anything that comes up with the machine.
Brad?
Yeah, so very similar for us too as well, since we're offering that as a service. Everything that we have on our machine is just about as unique to us because we built it for us. So we use our own thing. So we have plenty in stock ready to go whenever something breaks. We have parts trailers that go out with our groups anytime they leave to go anywhere, and they have plenty of parts with them whenever they're out there running. So our internal support is really what keeps us driving and never keeps us from stopping.
Given some of the costs to purchase, some of the largest farms might not need to finance this, but many would. Have you worked with ag lenders or other more traditional lenders not familiar with the ag sector, and how they understand the value of this and how they lend on it for purchase?
Yeah, absolutely. Not going to get too much into, I think these questions are better suited for the sales team. I'd be happy to direct people in the right direction, but yes, we work with lenders. We are also working on seasonal plans to try to, make the unit worthwhile for growers who have very short windows and things as such. So we do, but yeah, we are committed to providing solutions for growers who may need the help with lending by putting them in touch with the right people. We have a network of people who've been very helpful. And then we're also, like I said, working on seasonal plans that may make sense to growers who have very short weeding windows and things as such.
Brad?
Yeah, well, we don't sell our machine, so we haven't really had a conversation about that yet. When we get to the point, if we decide to sell our machine, though, I'm sure that we wouldn't have. I want one of those things that I have to direct it across to somebody else on that one, since we haven't sold our machine and we haven't looked to sell it yet. But if there was I don't even know where the issue would be, where I could compare it to something similar to how we would come across. But yeah, we haven't had to deal with that yet.
Well, in our waning seconds here, any parting remarks for our viewers? Brad, you first.
Yeah, we're super excited to get out there. We're super excited. We haven't really pushed our marketing team very hard to really start marketing us yet, but this year we're really gonna crank on it really hard. We got a lot of machines coming out. We plan on getting them in the field and getting them working as fast as we can, and we're super excited about the new markets we're getting into with our new sprayers, with high density crops as well as thinning and things like that. And we really look to make a big change in the industry in the coming year for sure.
Thank you. Jaime.
Yeah, really appreciate everyone's attendance. We're thrilled to be in Colorado. We have a few machines running in the area in different crops as well as neighboring states. So if you or anyone you know is interested in seeing one of the machines in action, I think that's that's the best testament of what we're doing, and we'd be happy to set that up. So just reach out to our sales team via our website, or you can contact me directly, and we'd be happy to put something together so you can get eyes on one of these amazing machines.
Excellent, guys. Thank you so much for your time today. Very comprehensive presentation. This recording is going to be available at the YouTube channel for the Colorado Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association shown in the chat, and look forward to seeing you guys this fall in Salinas.
Sounds
Have a
good.
great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.